welcome to another edition of the Challenge CupDate, getting you caught up on everything NWSL Challenge Cup here on SDH. My name's Jason Longshore, usually joined by Jessica Charman. Not today. Jess feeling a little under the weather. All's well, no freaking out. But if you want to shoot her a message, Jess Talks Footy with an IE. Tell her you missed her on this episode. Ask for her thoughts on how these last two match days went in the NWSL Challenge Cup. Everybody will be up to 3 matches once we get through tomorrow's games. Tomorrow, Utah Royals, OL Reign. That's at 12:30 on CBS All Access. Sky Blue Houston Dash, that's at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS All Access. How did we get to this point? Let's get caught up on the matches from the weekend. To start us off, it was Utah and Sky Blue, and it was one-way traffic for the most part. Utah Royals win 1-0. Doesn't really show the dominance that they had in this one. Sky Blue had more of the possession, but really didn't create anything with it. 3 shots. None on target. The clean sheet with no saves is not an easy one to pull off. The Utah Royals did it. They got the goal in the 41st minute. Amy Rodriguez, assisted by Vero Boquete. Beautiful ball from Boquete. And Rodriguez, who I think is having a strong tournament, one of the best players in the tournament. She gets the goal to go with it. Not a whole lot else. Really, it was a strange match from the Sky Blue perspective. You kept waiting for something to happen. A little bit different starting lineup. A player that I thought was really effective in Game 1 for Sky Blue, Ifeoma Onumanu, did not start. Came on at halftime, and Sky Blue looked better in the second half. They started the rookie, Evelyn Vienne. Didn't really see much of the ball, so it's kind of hard to really even judge Vienne's performance. Jennifer Cujo came off the bench at halftime as well for Sky Blue. I think Cujo brings a lot of energy, and that was something that this team was just kind of lacking in this match. Sky Blue has to figure out in this tournament what they can do going forward. They are missing Carly Lloyd. They are missing Mallory Pugh. They just don't have enough firepower going forward, and no one's stepped up to resolve that issue. Utah was good here. It's good for them to get the clean sheet after conceding 3 in Game 1. That's going to make you feel good, but I think it's going to be Game 3 for them that will have a better sense of what the Utah Royals are, because they weren't really facing very much in this one. So Houston, who is one of the surprises of the tournament, put 3 on them. Now, Utah scored 3 as well. That was the 3-3 draw. This match, Utah isn't really tested. They do only find 1 goal. And we'll see when we get through Game 3 kind of how we feel about the Utah Royals, because they're in the middle of the pack for me. I still don't really know how to feel about them just yet. I feel a lot better about the team that they drew with in their first game, the Houston Dash. Houston won 2-0 in the nightcap on Saturday, July 4th. OL Reign, really kind of disappointing here. Christy Mewis, Shea Groom were your goal scorers. Shea Groom, for me in this tournament, she is the MVP at this point. If there was a halfway mark MVP of the tournament, Shea Groom gets it. She's been outstanding in this event. Christy Mewis has been very, very good for the Houston Dash. And just like we talked about with Utah, you come out of that 3-3 wild game, and it's like, all right, how are you going to respond? Both responded with wins, but I thought Houston was far more convincing in their win. OL Reign had a lot of the possession. Houston was deadly on the counter. Houston only had 42% of the possession, but they created 10 shots out of that, 4 on target, get the 2 goals. OL Reign, with all the possession they had, they did create 8 shots, but nothing on target. And just like the situation with Sky Blue, OL Reign missing Megan Rapinoe, it shows. It shows. You don't have that focal point going forward. It feels like they're looking for someone to step up, and it just hasn't happened enough for OL Reign in this tournament. Groom, with the goal, had assisted on the first goal from Mewis, a great layoff by Groom for that one. She gets the powerful header off the assist from Rachel Daly. Groom's got a couple of goals in the tournament. Daly's got a couple of goals in the tournament. They've each got some assists. The attack for the Houston Dash has been the revelation of this event. Jane Campbell gets the clean sheet again, no saves, but Campbell did face 8 shots. The Houston Dash have been, in my opinion, the biggest surprise of the event. A team that has not been a surprise, because this is what we expected them to do, be undefeated at this point. It's North Carolina Courage. They had to work for it, though, against the Chicago Red Stars. It's a rematch of the 2019 final, and the Red Stars put up a much stronger fight in this one. It was a 1-0 win for the Courage, and it came pretty late. It's an 81st minute goal, a beautiful cross from Jaylene Daniels, Abby Ursig with the powerful header, and it's enough. The Courage were the better team, in my opinion, but Chicago, even with only 5 shots, they did have 2 on target. It was Caitlin Rowland in goal for the Courage. She gets the clean sheet in this one. The Red Stars were dangerous on the counter. And I think when you saw Morgan Gautreau especially have the courage against the courage to dribble through the pressure, it was effective. And sometimes that's the best way to break a press. Multiple times in the first half, I thought Gautreau really broke pressure and led to Chicago gaining some confidence in how they approached this North Carolina team. North Carolina, they had 15 shots. They had 5 on target. They did have more of the play, but they didn't dominate like we've seen them dominate before, and like we've seen them dominate this Red Stars team before. Strong performance. I think Chicago's Rory Dames was looking for more of an impact in the second half from Savannah McCaskill. She came on in the 64th minute. I'd like to see McCaskill start. I'd like to see McCaskill as a number 10 pulling the strings for this team. They're still trying to figure out how to replace Sam Kerr. Not an easy job. Not an easy situation. I don't know who that is up top for this team, but it's in Chicago, it feels like a team that is missing something. It feels like they're close. It feels like they're just missing that final thing. And I don't know what the answer is exactly. We'll see if Rory Dames has learned enough through the first 3 games to adapt as you get ready for the knockouts. Game 4 is going to be interesting for the teams going into this next weekend, because you want to go into the knockout round on a high. You are going to be playing for seeding in some cases, or could be teams you want to avoid. But you might not want to show everything, and you might want to rest people to keep them fresh for that knockout game. So I'll be fascinated to see how the managers handle Game 4 next weekend. We've seen a lot of rotation from a lot of teams. Not everybody's picked the same time to rotate. Chicago rotated everybody in Game 2. Do they need to rotate again? They're going to come into Game 4 with a full week of rest. Is that going to be enough for them to feel comfortable going into Game 4, playing, going into the knockouts, playing? No questions. We'll see. I'm curious, because you've got 4 teams that are going to come into Game 4 on shorter rest, and how is that going to affect that? We'll get into that in a minute. Red Stars, better. Even in a loss, it was a much better performance from them, but it's not enough against the North Carolina Courage. They get the win on Sunday, July 5th. The nightcap, really entertaining match. 1-1 Portland and Washington Spirit. 2 great goals in this one as well. This was just a fun NWSL match that was back and forth, had a lot in it. Lindsey Horan got the goal in the 69th minute for the Thorns. Great ball from Megan Klingenberg. And as we were watching this one, I kept noticing early on, it felt like every ball was overhit from the Portland Thorns, whether it was a set piece, whether it was looking for the through ball over the top. Everything was long. Klingenberg's set piece delivery here was perfect. It was chipped in and gave Lindsey Horan the chance to come in with a powerful diving header to give Portland the lead. Washington didn't back down, and that's the storyline of the Spirit team. Is they're showing some resiliency in this event, and they're showing that you can look at them, I think, as one of the better teams in this league. They get a goal off a set piece, a ridiculous flick from Ashley Sanchez at the near post. A backheel flick into the air. Samantha Staub with the header. They can't clear it off the line, and the Spirit get the 1-1. I think the Spirit felt like they could find a winner here. They didn't. But 1-1 draw, 7 shots for Washington, 8 for Portland, but on target, 3 for Washington, 1 for Portland. The Thorns had 59% of the possession to Washington's 41%. Rose Lavelle, Ashley Hatch did not start this match. They played 45. They came on at halftime. You're starting to see managers use those 5 subs in some different ways. That was the setup from the beginning, and it showed. I think Washington held their own in the first half, but they were not as dangerous. They were much better in the second half. Lavelle is just, she plays at a different speed than a lot of players in this league, and not enough here to get the win, but enough for Washington to, I think, make a strong statement. Now, when we look at the table, you got to remember, you've got the 4 teams that play tomorrow that have only played twice. Now, 2 of them are in second and third, so I'll be curious to see how Houston and Utah proceed tomorrow. North Carolina, perfect, 9 points through 3 matches. They don't have the number 1 seed sealed up, but they're in a really good spot to earn it. Houston and Utah are next. Houston has a slightly better goal differential because of their 2-0 win versus Utah's 1-0 win. So the Dash are in second place. Utah is in third. The Spirit are in fourth, also on 4 points, but they've played 1 more match than the Dash and the Royals. Portland Thorns are in fifth on 2 points, 2 draws in the event. Sky Blue and OL Reign have played 2 matches. They have 1 point. Sky Blue has a slightly better goal differential, -1 to OL Reign's -2. Chicago Red Stars are in last place. They've played 3 matches. They only have 1 point through this tournament. I don't think they're going to finish in last, though. We look at the matches tomorrow as we prepare for this. Utah against OL Reign. OL Reign, it feels like they're closer than Sky Blue to showing us something, but I just don't know what's going to be that clicking element for OL Reign. Utah, I think, has played really well in this event. They had the defensive breakdowns against the Houston Dash, but Utah, for my money, if I'm counting on a group of players to get the job done, you have to like Amy Rodriguez and Vera Boquete in this. You have to feel strongly about their ability to score goals. I don't think you're going to shut this Utah Royals team out. Can OL Reign do anything to exploit a defense that you have to have some questions about after conceding 3 in the first match? I don't know where it comes from. The player for Reign that I look at and I've been impressed with, but it just hasn't clicked enough for her yet, is Darian Jenkins. I like Darian Jenkins' game. I think she's been dangerous at times, but not quite dangerous enough with this group. Shirley Cruz is a player that I think a lot of people are waiting to break out. Hasn't really happened just yet. Bethany Balser, Rookie of the Year last year, came off in the 63rd minute. You'd like to see a little bit more from her, but Reign are missing that true number 9, that true focal point up top. Megan Rapinoe doesn't play that role exactly, but you know everything's going through her, and she's got goals in her, and she can create chances. Nobody's really proven to be that yet. I'd like to see Jenkins a little further up the field. I think OL Reign would be a better team with Jenkins in a more important role in the attack. Utah, we talked about their defense. We've talked about how strong they can be defensively. Now, they play in a 3-5-2. It's a little different than most of the teams in this tournament. But is it enough defensively? It was in the game 2. It was not in game 1. Will it be enough against OL Reign? It should. I think Utah gets the win. Can it get a little bit more on the scoreboard? Because it's looking like goal differential is what's going to decide Houston and Utah. And now Houston's got that 1-goal lead. I think Houston, going into their match against Sky Blue tomorrow night, one, they're going to know what they need to do in terms of goals to worry about their placement going into the final match day. That's going to help. And OL Reign and Sky Blue are kind of in the same situation. Neither one has really looked dangerous going forward. When we talk about Sky Blue and how they can threaten Houston, it's got to come from the number 9, I think. I think Sky Blue has looked their most dangerous when they've played direct to Ifeoma Onumonu. Onumonu is a very smart target forward, and she can bring others into the game. She can also turn and run at defenses. They need to feed her more, and they need to feed her early in a match to build up her confidence, get her touches, allow her to affect the game more. I think Jennifer Cujo needs to start as well. I think Cujo brings a lot of energy to this team that just needs something to build around. And I think those are two players who can have a huge hand in that. I'd also like to see a little bit more from Midge Purse. Now, there's been a lot of conversation in this tournament about Midge Purse. She's playing as a right back. We have seen on the women's game and the men's game how outside backs can be impactful in the attack. We've seen it whether you're talking about a Dani Alves, a Gareth Bale, a Roberto Carlos. I mean, we can go on and on and on about how that can be a very effective weapon. It's a work in progress for Midge Purse. I thought she gave some very interesting comments during the week after this last game. Purse, looking at where she fits into the overall U.S. women's national team depth chart up top, I don't know if she gets many appearances with the national team. As a right back, with her attacking ability, I think she can be a starter for the national team. But it's the subtleties of the position that are not quite there just yet. It's when to go. It's when to sit. It's how to get forward. It's finishing plays off when you get forward, not having a giveaway in the midfield, and then your position is exposed. It's also, I think, having that confidence. It's having that confidence when you go to go and finish the play. You can tell that she's still learning the position. You can tell that she's probably having a lot of conversations with her manager, Freya Coombe, about these things: when to go, when to sit, how aggressive to be, et cetera, et cetera. I want to see her in this third match look a little more comfortable in the position. I still think that Sky Blue can get the best out of that positioning. And it's not just about Purse's potential role with the national team. It's about what Sky Blue can get out of it, too. When you have an outside back who gets forward into the attack and can score goals and can create for others, it's very difficult to account for. It's very difficult to defend. And that's what you can get out of Midge Purse as a right back. Haven't seen enough of it yet. In the second match against Utah, I thought Purse was in her head a little bit too much, had too many uncharacteristic poor passes, uncharacteristic giveaways, things like that. You want to see a really strong third match from her. And if you get that, then Sky Blue can change the narrative a little bit. Because Houston, as we saw in Game 1, they're not necessarily a lockdown defense. You know, Jane Campbell was questionable at times in Game 1. The back line, questionable in Game 1. Are they good enough if Sky Blue can play direct, if they can use the target forward to bring others into the game, especially Purse attacking down the right? That's the thing here. If you're going to get your right back forward, you've got to build up the play to do that. A target forward can help you do that. When that ball goes in to the target forward, when she gets her first touches, then Purse can start to step up higher. You play out of the back, you pick out Onumonu, you let Onumonu hold the play, Purse starts to go, you play her in down the flank. It's got to come a little more natural for Sky Blue. If you do that, can Houston defend that? It's a question. And it's something the Dash are going to have to prove. They have to be better defensively. They weren't really tested too much by OL Reign. Will Sky Blue test them more? Jury's out on that question. Going forward, this team is maybe the most impressive team going forward in the tournament right now. Rachel Daly playing with a ton of confidence. Christy Mewis attacking from a more deep-lying role, very, very dangerous. And Shea Groom is the MVP of the tournament at this point. Groom is a player who's coming into her own in this team, and it's exciting to see. These are the types of players I think this tournament is there for. These are the types of players that are going to go into Vlatko Andonovski's notebook. These are the players that you hope to see get call-ups to the next women's national team camp because they've earned it on the field. Shea Groom is exactly that kind of player. So they have to figure out in Sky Blue how to deal with Shea Groom. They have to deal with, or figure out how to deal with, this front three that is very dangerous for the Dash, but also Mewis and Groom, who are bombing forward out of the midfield. It looked really good against OL Reign with Sophie Schmidt sitting a little bit deeper with Groom, with Mewis stepping up and creating more havoc going forward. Daly and Stengel is another good pairing up top. It's a Dash team that, look, you can call it a 4-4-2, you can call it a 4-3-3. It looks like a 4-2-4 sometimes. That front group, when they have the back four, which needs to be a little more stable, with the number 6, with the defensive midfielder sitting deep, it's free to go. And Groom has taken full advantage of that. Mewis has taken full advantage of that. Your attacking group has been very good for the Houston Dash. Are they going to be able to break down Sky Blue? They should. Will Sky Blue be better than they've been? Will either Sky Blue or OL Reign be better than they've been? If I had to pick one, I think it's Sky Blue. And we'll see if Midge Purce's development, we'll see if Onamanu up top can provide that spark for them. If they can look a little bit different, Jennifer Cujo needs to get more minutes in this tournament. Things like that. Can Sky Blue change the narrative a bit? I think they have more to work with than OL Reign. We'll find out. Let us know what you think. Tweet at us. At Soccer Down Here. At Longshoe. That's me. Tweet at Jess Talks Footy. Ask her what she thought of these games over the weekend. Ask her what she thinks of the games tomorrow. Again, reminder, tomorrow, CBS All Access, Game 1, Utah Royals, OL Reign at 12:30 Eastern Time. Game 2, 10 p.m., Sky Blue and the Houston Dash. After that, everybody will be on 3 matches played, and we'll go into the final weekend where Washington and Houston on Sunday at 12:30. That's a fun match to see. Chicago and Utah. Interesting. Chicago's got something to build on, but a lot to prove. OL Reign in Portland. Portland's been a disappointment in this tournament for me. That should be 3 points for them, and they're going to need it. And in Sky Blue in North Carolina, that's the late match on Monday. Oh, that's a tough draw for Sky Blue in game number 4. They really need something against Houston tomorrow night. Sky Blue's going to have a lot of pressure on them. We'll talk about all of that on Friday. We'll come back with another Cup Date to get you ready for the last set of games. It's a busy, busy week in the Soccer Down Here universe with getting ready for Atlanta United, getting ready for Atlanta United 2 back on the field this weekend, broadcasts on 92.9 The Game, previews on Soccer Down Here, the NWSL Challenge Cup, everything else going on. It is chaos, but thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back with another Cup Date on Friday. Enjoy the matches tomorrow.